Hello, hello again. Welcome everyone to the Spring Equinox and New Moon workshop. And I'm just really thrilled to get to share this time with you all to set intentions, but also, oh, it lets me let in Tatiana. Yeah, this is about setting intentions, but also helping you get the things in place to bring those intentions to life and we talk a lot about manifestation, but we don't always talk about what it takes to actually make the thing come into creation. And that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about. I love the idea of potential and possibility, but I also really love seeing those things happen for you. So I'm hoping that when you leave this workshop, you'll know exactly what it is that you need to do to make the things that you want to create in your life a reality. So a little bit of a review about this time of the spring equinox and the new moon and why setting intentions at this time is so important and potent. And one of the reasons why I wanted to share this with you, I will regularly set intentions and plan what I want to do moving forward in my life around the new moon and around things like the equinoxes and the solstices. But when I noticed that it just so happened that the new moon and the spring equinox happened at the same time, pretty much, they're within a day of each other, I was like, oh, that is such a really beautiful time to create some new things. And I also wanted to start creating some new things in my own offerings. And I was like, no, let's just jump right in and have a Zoom workshop. So I have not done anything like this before. So this is the first time I'm offering something like this. And I hope that it helps you. So I will take you through a few exercises, but before we get into that, if you are not familiar with the equinoxes and the solstices and what this actually means, I want to share with you how I think about these things and how it relates to the moon. So the solstices and the equinoxes, they are our seasons. So we have our winter and summer, which we know when those are, at least in the northern hemisphere. If you are in the southern hemisphere, those are going to be reversed because science. So the solstices, when the sun rises on the horizon, it's in a particular place, and throughout the year it will move farther to the north or farther to the south, and at a certain point it goes as far north or as far south as it can go, and at that point it appears for several days to stand still, and that is where we get the word solstice from. So solstice, it means the sun is standing still, which it does in the winter around December 21st, and in the summer around June 21st, 22nd, or 20th. It depends on the year when exactly that moment will be. And so the equinoxes are the time in spring and fall when there is an equal amount of light. So when it's winter time, we have the longest amount of darkness. And in the summertime, we have the longest amount of lightness. I hope that this is making sense. So it's the sun moving on the horizon as well as the amount of daylight during that time. What does this have to do with intentions and seasons and all of that? It follows this pattern that I call, and many call, the creation cycle, which the moon also follows. So follow me on this. The moon goes through a very similar cycle from its new moon time of complete darkness. That's like the winter time of the moon, which we are in right now, to the growing lightness of the moon in its waxing time. That's the first quarter, to the fullest, that's like the springtime of the moon, to its fullest when it has its full brightness, it's fully illuminated, it has all the light that it will have. and we can see all of it. That's the full moon time. That's like the summer of the moon. And then we have the waning of the moon, where that lightness starts to decrease, and it comes to the new moon at the beginning. So we have this cycle. I can see, I kept thinking, should I create visuals? This is going to be so challenging to explain without visuals, and I didn't, but I do have this circle right here. So if you can imagine, this is the new moon. This is the growing. I did not plan this, but I'm really glad to have this right here. So we have the growing energy, if you can imagine, right here is about the summertime or the full moon time, where everything is bright and light and open. And then the waning again to the new moon time or to the winter time. Anything that you create in this world follows the same cycle. We can think about it with, I don't know, something like the breath. So you're fully exhaled. There's no more to exhale. That's your new moon, your winter time of your breath. Then you start breathing in, and that breath expands and your lungs expand. It's like the springtime of your breath. And then you come to that fullest point where there's no more breath to be had, but you have so much air within you. You're full. It's like the full moon or the summertime of your breath. And then you exhale and release and come back, decreasing the pressure in your lungs to that empty new moon time. Exhale, breath time. Is this making sense? Cool. I got a thumbs up. Wonderful. Everything that you create has these same cycles. So we've got that fertile void time of the darkness, the potential. So this is where we're in this new moon cycle. This is why new moon times are so wonderful to create your intentions or set your intentions or seed what it is that you want to create. You're like literally planting, well, more like metaphorically planting the seeds of your intentions, and seeds go into soil, into darkness, into a fertile void. And then with the right environment and the right nutrients and the right care, the water, the soil, it starts to sprout. And that's that springtime, that growing, increasing in energy. And then given that it has the nutrients and the support, and that's where we're going to get to with your intentions, helping you get the support that your intentions needs to grow, it comes into a full bloom. So if you just think of something that you have created, it's gone through this process. You have the idea, you're like, oh my gosh, that would be so wonderful to create in physical manifest reality. And so then you start doing work to create the thing. It starts growing. It grows branches you didn't know that it would even have. And then it comes into some sort of fullness of expression, a blossom, if you will. And then that blossom inevitably, if it's going to become a fruit, it becomes a fruit that's like the fall, or it goes to seed, which can often go back into the ground. And there's a waning cycle after that fullness of expression of growth. So this is this creation cycle that the sun goes through, that the seasons go through, and that the moon goes through every 28 or so days. I love this because there's always a new time to create new intentions and new ideas. You might even consider how the sun itself in daytime goes through the same creation cycle. The sun comes up, it grows into the sky, and then it reaches its zenith at noontime, its fullness of expression. And then that sunlight starts to wane, which is, at least where I'm at, the part of the day that we're at. I'm winding down. There's only so much I'm going to get done today. I always joke about how it's like lunchtime is when I have to come to terms with what's actually going to get done today, right? The morning, it's a glorious time. The day has so much potential. And how this relates to what I hope you'll leave this workshop with is, when I start my days knowing exactly what it is that is the most important thing for me to get done, then that thing gets done. So I don't know if you live your life the way that I have lived my life for a long time, and this unhealthy pattern that I'm very much working on breaking and hope to help you break. But it's I put pack too much stuff in my freaking day or my week. And then I don't feel so great because it's all not getting done. I'm scattered. I don't know what to do. With the exercises that I'm going to take you through today, I hope to help you to get really ultra clear on what is most important for you right now. Today, this week, this month, this year, so that you can move forward so much more effectively in the things that you want to do and create all the amazing things that are within you. And I don't care if this is work related, if it's health related, if it's relationship related, it can be any of those things. It's a choose your own adventure sort of thing. But by following this natural rhythm of creation, you can really start to get so much more done with less effort. And this isn't like maximizing all your things, but it's about having a peace of mind so that you can rest at night when it's time to rest, or so that you can take some break this winter because you've already reached that fullness of expression. So, with all of that in mind, I invite you to take a few moments here and close your eyes if you'd like. And just start to take in some breaths. They don't have to be really deep. They don't have to be perfect. Just start to settle into your body. In this moment right here, notice how you showed up here today to learn about using the rhythm of the sun and the moon and your breath in a way that helps you come into your own fullness of expression. And part of this journey of learning to bring what's within us outside of us, the first thing is to look back to everything that we have done and we have experienced. So consider what the past 6 months have been like for you. Consider all the things that you've experienced and everything that you've learned. What are the things that have made lasting impressions upon you? So thinking back to last fall, and what was it that you were harvesting then? What were the things that were coming into completion then for you? And continuing to notice the movement of your breath in your body. Take yourself through winter, last winter. And that experience. Did you rest? Could you? What did you learn then? And then into the new year and all the ideas that you had of what this year would be like. January, February, and coming to this present moment here. now. And offering a blessing or a expression of gratitude towards that past and what you have experienced and what it has taught you. And feeling once again this moment here, now. And then from this moment, considering the next 6 months, summer and fall, and come September, what do you dream to create in your life? In any area of your life, work, home, health, hobbies, or things that bring you joy. Where do you see yourself this fall? What do you want to harvest? And I invite you to write down the things that have come to you. Take a few moments here and make yourself a list where you just freely write down every dream or idea that has come to you for what you would like to create in the next 6 months. Don't worry about editing. Don't worry about even if it's realistic or how you'll do it or any of that. Just what in your heart wants to come into expression this year. And don't even worry about writing down everything. But write what first comes to mind. And I know we had some new people come in, so just to fill you in, everyone is thinking about what it is they want to create over the next 6 months and what sort of goals or what do you want to achieve? What do you want to create come September? And if you did come in late, I am recording, so you'll be able to see my explanation of the creation cycle a little bit later, but just totally go along with us because we're gonna break everything down so that the intentions that you're creating for this springtime and this new moon can come into being. And like I said, you don't need to write down everything because what I'm sharing with you is something you can repeat. You can repeat every month, you can repeat every season. You can do it more tomorrow. Tomorrow's the official new moon, so you can do this exercise over again. Sometimes I'll think about different areas of my life and brainstorm or just free write on each of those areas because you want to let yourself really be free on what you're writing down, because the next part is where some of the magic really happens, in my opinion. So if you've got your list, we're going to do what is maybe one of the most challenging things, but it is one of the most important. And that is we're going to pick one of these things that you wrote down out of that list. And also, don't worry about picking the perfect one or the right one. Okay. We're going to just throw out that false belief that there is a right one and that there is a perfect one. It's more about just picking one. Okay. So when you look at your list, what is the one thing that if you were able to really focus on it, and it's not about doing it perfectly, or even, I mean, hopefully it comes to some form of completion, but it doesn't even have to come to full completion. This is part of the creation cycle, is we learn through that process, as you'll see. But what is the one thing that if you were able to really give it your all, your joy, your happiness, your creativity, your soul really feels expressed? That what is going to bring you the most joy to focus on? And I'm not saying that you're going to completely reorganize your entire life and only focus on, learning horseback riding, right? Or whatever your thing is. You'll still do your other things, but there is an incredible magic that happens when we are able to focus on just one thing. And this happens on the micro and it happens on the macro. And this, I do feel, is one of the lessons that the sun and the moon teaches us. The sun goes through our creation cycle over 365 days. The moon goes through this creation cycle once a month, 12 times a year it goes through this. So we're always growing, expressing, and refining is how I would explain the waning time of energy. What is the one thing? Does everybody have one thing? Great. We got our one thing. So imagine that this thing is your seed. This is the seed that you're planting. You can totally plant more seeds, but I want you to learn this system of creation. This is your seed. You know, when you plant a garden, you plant more than one seed. So it applies to this too. I'll make sure I follow my notes here. Okay, so this is your seed. Thinking about this seed, this goal, this dream, whatever it is. What is it that you need to do to bring this into creation? What are the actual specific actions that will help you bring this into creation? I want you to write those down. So for example, what you want to do is learn to play a song. Say you just love playing music and there's this one song you really love to learn to play well. There are certain actions that you would need to take to be able to do that. One is practicing. Maybe finding a teacher, finding someone to help you. Maybe there are certain skills on the instrument that you need to learn. We're starting to break down what the specific things are that will help us actually get to the thing that it is that we want to do or achieve. And so just to go back to our circle here, if we're thinking about this is springtime right here, and here we've got summer solstice, which is around June 21st. And here we've got fall equinox. So you could totally do this for a full year amount of time, but for this moment here, let's just think about what is it that we want to harvest this fall? And so right now we've got this beautiful growth of energy in the daytime, the light is increasing, energy's moving, things are blooming. How can we harness that real intense growth energy right now up until summer solstice? And so thinking about out of the things that you need to do for this goal that you have, what are the things that are either going to need to happen first or require the most energy, where you can really harness this time of increasing energy that we have in the spring season? And so think about what are those things. Are there one or two or three things associated with where you want to get that will help you get there, that you can start to put into place over the next 3 months? And then from there, what is the one thing for you to do first? So this will bring you to your new moon intention. So the moon goes through its own cycle of creation, fullness, waning energy for 28 days. Just to make sure I set the date right. Yeah, I think it's April 20th. April 20th is the next new moon. So between now and April 20th, you've got that growing energy. Right now we're in the fertile void of the moon. So things, if it might take you a week or so to really plan out what it is that will get you to even just this first step towards your goal. And this can be your new moon intention. And then there's one more step. There's one more step. I mean, there's the actual doing of all of these things, and you could write these questions down. I will send them in an email as well. But when it comes to your new moon intention, my question for you is, how will you measure your success? How will you know that your intention is working? How will you know when this intention has been achieved? What are the signs that you can look for? So really there's three parts to this. So what are the signs? What are the things that you can look for? What are the things that will show you that you are on that path? The second part is, what actions can you take in support of this intention? How can you be of service? This is about getting to the granular of there's the way that your intention will show up for you by being like, yeah, things are working, it's working well, we got some good things going, but how are you going to show up to your intention? There's this idea in creation and creativity in general that it's this thing that exists outside of us. They talk about the muse is this little genie in the corner. Well, we're also a part of that relationship. You're in relationship with creation. So what are the specific things that you can do to make this thing come into being? And then the last part is about what daily practices can support this intention. So this is like adjacent to what your intention is. What are the daily practices, or what tools can you use to anchor yourself in an intention? So this isn't the actual actions you're taking towards making this thing happen, but it's how you're setting yourself up in a way, like, for example, let's say my intention, it has to do with getting in better shape and exercising regularly. One of the daily practices that really is essential for that is staying hydrated. Right? Like, I can't actually show up to my workout dehydrated and think I'm gonna really do a great job. So having some daily practices around hydration would be a really great way for me to support myself in that intention. So for you, and it can be as real specific and obvious as that, or it could be things like having a daily prayer or affirmation around your intention when you start your work day, or sitting down every night and writing what it is that you did towards your intention, or the things that you learn, practices that help you stay on. Setting reminders on your phone that, go off at random times to be like, hey, did you work on your book today? And so, what you have at this point is the skeleton of a roadmap, or a fleshed out roadmap to getting to where you want to go by next fall. So with the moon and the way that working with the moon cycles and the lunar cycles, you've now set an intention for this particular lunar cycle. And over the next 4 weeks, you can work towards this intention and then come back and revisit this again at the next new moon. And you can even think about it in terms of, in 2 weeks of the full moon, look at, okay, this is what I've done. And then I'm going to refine this. Maybe you find you're trying to drink your water every day, but it's not happening, right? So then you got to reassess and say, oh, okay, well, let me make sure that I have a full glass of water by my bed for when I wake up in the morning. So I can actually start the day hydrated, because you've learned that if you don't start the day hydrated, then you don't always get it done. So at this point, I'm wondering if there are any questions, and I would love to open up for questions, discussions, or see if anyone needs help sussing out this way of using the lunar and the solar cycles to make things happen. So feel free to unmute yourself and let me know if you've got questions, or if you just want to share what your intention is and create. Okay, Melissa says, this is really helpful to get more clear on my goals. Wonderful. I love this stuff. My name literally, one of the meanings of my name, Nissa, is attainment of one's goals. So it's like in my identity to help people with their goals. And I love stuff like this, but I also really love using these, what can be esoteric understandings of nature and creation in really practical ways. Because it's one thing to have a dream, or an idea, but it's another thing to bring it into creation. And I have this belief that creativity in all forms is really what's going to save us, because that's what solves problems. We have to be creative to solve problems, and there are lots of things in this world that we can solve and help. And I think that being able to get out of our own way to do the things that we want to do is one of those ways that we can do that. So well, I want you all to know that if you need help with any of this, or you just want to have someone to bounce some ideas off of, I am here. And I'm here in this meeting, but I also am happy to meet with you one-on-one and help you suss out some more of these ideas and goal plannings. I will check in with you in about 2 weeks with the new moon, because you just set a particular intention for this lunar cycle. And whatever that intention is, I would love to help you work with this particular lunar cycle to make that come into reality and get you 1 month closer to whatever it is that you want to create this year, and start to learn the system to use throughout the month and throughout the year and next year, so that you can continue to work towards whatever it is you want to work towards. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I will just have us acknowledge each other and ourselves for showing up to get really clear on some of these things. It can go a long way, clarity. And so I invite you to take a little bit of time tonight to maybe write down 3 things that you did today where you just really showed up. And it can be big ways and it can be small ways, because there's this thing called negativity bias. And it's this really wonderful thing that has kept us alive as a human species, having us pay attention to threats and things that might harm us more than something that's beautiful and fun. But what that means in our modern times is that our brains are designed to pay attention to what's not working. And so we have to work extra hard to pay attention to what is working. So take a little bit of time tonight and celebrate how you showed up today. What were your wins? And then write down somewhere the number 1 thing that is most important for you to get done tomorrow, especially when it has to do with your intention. The number 1 thing. So that when you wake up tomorrow, you'll know exactly what that thing is. And you won't get to like 7 o'clock and go, oh my gosh, I didn't do the thing. I mean, sometimes that still happens, but you're much more likely to do it when you know what the thing is. Well, I appreciate all of you for taking the time to be with me. I hope that this is helpful in any way, and I'm here. So find me in your inbox and find me on social media and find me all the places. I would love to hear how this goes for you. And I love all of you, and take care. care.